the association podcast. You got Dane, Diddy, uh, your boy Kyle in the building. And we're ready to deliver, hot takes and recaps of the week. How you doing there, Diddy?
Ah, bad week, killer. Bad week. Um, but I'm ready for week three, baby. I'm in here. We ready. I see my players are doing some things that I like already. So
Hmm.
I just gotta have a short memory. Keep it moving. How about you?
Man, I hear that. I had a pretty good week. I had one
Yeah,
tough loss,
yeah,
and I
because you
had
played me. You played me in almost all our leagues.
I mean, sometimes the scheduling gods, work to your favor, and you got players, with the right matchups, etc.
Yeah.
Was fortunate to get victories in all the leagues, but I mean, especially in two of them, it was like relatively close. Basically a
Mm-hmm.
coin flip.
Hmm.
Um, and Curry kind of scored 64 or 62 points.
I gotta go
You know,
rewatch that game. Because a few things I'm interested in seeing in that game. One, just Curry, chefing it up, but also, I gotta see what's up with Nurkic, man. Like, I needed two or three rebounds to beat you in association, and when I tell you, I looked at his numbers at halftime. It said 7-6. No, that was in the third quarter, 7-6, and whatever else he had. Yo, I turned it back to the fourth quarter. I was like refreshing my screen, like, why are these numbers not changing? What's going on? And then I'm
I,
seeing the time on the clock change. I'm like, what's happening?
man, we had this conversation a couple weeks back, about certain players that we were concerned about if their heart was going to be into it. Cat was certainly one of the big ones.
Hmm.
Because he's lost so many people, due to this terrible pandemic.
Hmm.
And thoughts and prayers, and similar, Nurk, has lost some people close to him.
Oh, okay. I
And
didn't
so
realize
so
that.
so 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 one has to wonder if there's a little bit of that at play. Maybe
Mm.
his heart is still in Bosnia, and he just needs a couple of games to snap out of things, because he just looks like hot trash right now, man. Like I benched him. I
Mm.
was in a tough matchup where I needed someone to shoot over 50%. And he's playing against Golden State on a Sunday, and I said, you know what, man, I just don't have the faith in you right now.
Wow.
And that was certainly tough.
Man. Um. Well, Nurkic was somebody I was concerned about. Um. No longer. He's officially off my team as of yesterday, as of this morning, I should say. And we could talk about those trades later on, but
did you
um,
did you and I guess it was a tough goodbye. It doesn't sound like you guys threw a big celebration. You kind of just said, "Here's your Uber."
uh,
you know, the
yeah, I drove
the
him to the air.
organization won't be paying
Yeah,
for it.
I gave him a ride to the airport. Um, it was a mutual parting of ways. He's taking a one-way ticket, and you know, it's okay. It's okay. We tried it. We had a good time at the end of last season. Um, Actually, those numbers that he put up in the bubble didn't even count towards our fantasy season. So, but
Wait, they don't? Are you serious? I could have sworn that's how half the people draft their teams. It's all bubble performances.
yo, that's what I mean. Look, I here's my emotional attachment with Nurkic. It's really not even emotional. It was more of a I was trying to recoup on my investment. I waited for Nurkic for the whole season. You know, he was out the whole season last year. I was expecting him to come back sometime in March, April. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this dude back when it comes to playoffs. Of course, we didn't have playoffs, because of the shutdown. But then, so of course, you know, when the bubble starts, I'm like, let me check out my man Nurkic. Let me see how my investment's looking. And investment was looking good. Like, you know, averaging like I don't remember what his numbers were. I'm checking it out. He's 17 and 12, 20 and 11, two blocks each of them get. I'm like, whoo, this dude percentage is on fire. Not turning the ball over, hitting threes. I was like, yo, this dude is gonna kill for me next year. Had him at a good number, and then the season started. This new season started, and I wasn't seeing the same kind of production, the same kind of energy, and it's probably because of what you said. You know, he's probably got some personal stuff going on that he's dealing with. So you know, I send him my prayers. And um, he'll be on his way, and I hope things work out for him. Because
Well,
I think he's a good player.
I certainly got to applaud you, man. Because so many people, don't practice the sunken fallacy. You spent the money. You saw some results which you didn't like. And you did your best to make a move, and make better the situation for something that worked for your organization. So many people, kind of just ride things out until the value is rock bottom, and then they're questioning at the end of the season, what happened, and it's like, you kind of saw some numbers, that were kind of alarming. He certainly could turn it around, but he
Yeah,
also
definitely. I'm
certainly
sure he
can't.
will. Yeah, that's always a possibility. Well, the thing is with Nurkic is that you know he for me and the way my luck works is that he would have turned it around, but by that time or shortly thereafter, he would probably get injured. So,
hmm
you
Well,
know,
that's been the history. That's been the history of Nurk. But yeah, let's jump into
yeah.
the week two recap in the association.
Okay.
So
What are we
for
looking at?
match,
Matchups?
yeah, yeah. So let's look at the matchups for week two. Um, I know we went through all the matchups, and each of us uh, put a vote for our prediction. Be
Yes.
interesting to see how things lined up.
Yeah.
So the first matchup, yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go
So
ahead.
yeah. So the first matchup was the Phoenix versus the Great Danes, um, and a surprising nail biter, as you pointed out, was able to pull off the upset. Um, what are your thoughts as far as how that matchup went?
Yeah. It was frustrating for me. We had a seesaw kind of battle. Um, the whole week. I would go up 6-3, then turn around the next day, be down 5-4, whatever the case
Mhm.
may be. Um, it was up 7-2 at one point during the week. That evaporated over the weekend. Um, you know, it was going to come down to Sunday, and
Mhm.
um, we know what happened. You guys, you know, came out pretty strong. I think you had a couple of games advantage over me. Um,
Mhm.
but for the most part, it just looked like Paul George went crazy on Sunday. Um,
Paul George, and don't forget about Keldon Johnson. Keldon Johnson had the game of his life on Sunday with 22 points, 7 rebounds, uh, 2 assists, 2 steals.
yeah, let me take a
Uh,
look at his numbers. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals for Keldon Johnson. Yeah, and as you can see on Sunday, you had a pretty full lineup.
mhm,
Whereas I had a couple of guys playing. Kyrie played. He played well, did his thing. Beasley also played and did well. But here goes our man right here, Nurkic. You know, filled up the stat sheet, but not with numbers that I'm particularly happy with. Um, you know, I need more out of him. Need more out of him,
mhm.
especially. And then what pisses me off is when I go to the box score and I see that Enos Cantor had like basically,
Double double.
I was like, what? Like, why is this guy even playing?
Yeah,
But okay. So, you know, but it is what it is. Pretty
yeah,
close as we imagined, and I skinned by a couple of categories by the skin of my teeth. You see assists, and then the same thing with rebounds for you, but everything else was pretty much, you know, more or less decided.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll maybe see you again later in the season, or hopefully in the playoffs if that's in my future, and we'll have to take another crack at it.
Agreed. And so yeah, so that victory 5-4 moved me up to third position. Moved down to number 11.
Yeah, we should
Um,
we should say that in our picks, we both picked me to win that matchup just because
mhm.
of the cat injury, and but turns out that with cat, we probably it would have been tough. I mean, I had a couple of injuries on my side too, but nothing as quite as significant as Carl Anthony Towns being out. So, um, all right, let's. You want to move on to
Yeah, let's move
Amherst,
on to the next. Yeah, we've got Amherst versus Cranston
Cranston?
Killers.
I believe we both
Uh,
picked Cranston to win this one,
mhm.
and they walk out tied. So looks like the big, you know, the holdup was blocks for them, and we could look to see what happened on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, Amherst Speedsters controlled the field goal percentage on free throws. So the two percentages were controlled by Amherst. Threes, decidedly, also by Amherst. Cranston brought the points and the rebounds and the assists. So the counting stats was handled by Cranston, whereas the
Yeah.
percentages and the efficiency was more of a speedster's game. I mean, 63 threes on close to 50% shooting is you know quite good. I mean, and only 36 turnovers.
Yeah.
Lord of mercy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked how many threes Amherst was able to pull out, and seeing that Trey Young and D'Angelo Russell and even Tatum and Ingram being on the other side, I'm surprised that the output was not higher um, in threes for Cranston. So um, I thought that, I mean, that's pretty interesting. I'm like, who was putting up threes like that for?
Hero had a
Oh my
big
goodness.
hero.
Oh, look at Lillard.
Hero.
17. 17.
Yeah, Dane had
17 threes
17,
for Damian Lillard himself, and then 12 for Brogdon,
which is on his way out.
which is
Um,
coming. Yeah, yeah. And on the other side, you just had no one who, like Trey Young, the guy who you'd expect to, you know, kind of dominate in that category, only had 7. That's even less than LeBron James had. So that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, ooh, shot a pedestrian from the field at just below 40% field goal. Trey Young.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So
oh, and Siakam's been bloody terrible too. You look at that line for the week, that was pretty bad, and he missed a game.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Disciplinary
um,
reasons, right?
so I mean, Siakam playing a little bit better. That probably gets you another block. Um,
Yeah. Um,
I mean, this matchup, I mean, is going to be totally different the next time that these teams meet, because
Most likely.
half this roster is no longer with the speedsters, and so
Right.
it'll be interesting once we get into discussing what we think about some of the moves that
Right.
have transpired over the
Yep.
past week. So moving on to the next matchup, we've got the Beantown Bombers versus Frankfurt Flyers. Uh, believe our pick. Did we pick Beantown here?
No, I think we picked Frankfurt
We
for
picked
this one.
Frankfurt.
Yeah, I believe we did. So,
And, and we were taught a lesson to not bet against KD. Oh
well,
my goodness.
except here breaking news that KD will be out for 4 games this week. So no KD this week for Beantown. Um,
Uh,
so in that
that's a
sense, I guess you know that's we could bet against him this week.
Oh, certainly. Certainly, we're doubling down. Uh,
But yeah,
yeah, I
KD
mean,
was a monster. I mean, 50% shooting, 92% free throw shooting. Um, I mean, yeah, he was pretty, putting up just about, early, late first round value
hmm,
this week. So yeah, that's going to be hard to beat. And then you look on the other side. Um, I don't, I don't know that anyone really play. I mean, look at Kawhi, the best player on that team, shooting 36%. Did have the
Kawhi,
injury. Did
Kawhi had a horrendous Sunday.
Yeah, did have the injury. Um,
Kawhi had a horrendous Sunday where he
right.
shot 19% from the field. I got to watch a couple of minutes from that game, and he was off. I mean, it's probably one of the only reasons why that game was made close after uh, the Clippers were up by more than 20 points, is because Kawhi just struggled throughout that game.
Yeah. Chris Paul looked like he played okay. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, more or less, I mean, you could see that um, Beantown was pretty dominant across all categories with the exception of turnovers. I mean, and assists. Which we think he'll struggle with assists this season. Um, so that was to be expected, but everything else was solid. So yeah, we were wrong about that one.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how our power rankings change over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we should probably look at um, doing that again probably in a week or two. Just give it a little bit of time
Mhm.
to settle in. Um, all right, let's move on to the next one. This one was another shocker, but Bimtown against the Kings. Um, I mean, Curry going off for 62 certainly helps. Um, and that probably pushed him right over the edge when it comes to points. But then look at this, winning by one rebound, and then pretty convincing in steals and blocks in comparison to Bimtown. But these are the areas again that we are pretty certain Bimtown would struggle in the big men stats, rebounding, blocking. Um,
But the free throw percentage, that's really rough. And
yeah, I
sound the
mean,
alarm. Sound the alarm, because I'm certainly now concerned about Bimtown and
well, it's what we
um
talked about earlier, right? Booker not playing, not shooting well from the free throw line this year so far, and then she has Zion who is under 60% this past week, and then Kuzma um, shooting 50%. So that you know hopefully gets better. And then you're right, Doncic we know is kind of suspect at the line as well. So
yeah.
and then he missed a game and shot terribly this week.
Hmm.
He's not looked good um, so far to start the season. So we can blame Luca for this loss.
Yeah, I agree, because I
Yeah.
mean I look over at the other side, and a lot of these numbers are career numbers, for a lot of the guys, like, maybe Steph Curry can do that again, but well, Lonzo Ball is starting to pick things up, but just overall, just as a team,
Well, in points, we didn't expect that the Kings would outscore the Celtics in this format. I mean, the and really, like you said, career numbers wise. I mean, these guys were hot. Curry and Beal were hot. They carried this team to score as many points as they did. Um,
yeah, Luca had 39 points
yeah,
in a week. I mean, that says it all. Yeah. No more time to
right,
waste on this matchup.
right. All right, let's.
Got next Blake Express versus Solid State. And anything surprising here? Any
Um,
any
no, I think we picked that one correctly. It was a blowout. Um, didn't have to be though. Looks like it was close in a few categories. Um, actually, a lot of them. So, Solid State only won by four threes. Um, they're tied in blocks. Turnovers was close as well. Um, but where Solid State really made their mark was in the percentages and assists and steals.
Mhm.
So dominant in at least four categories, and then you could take your pick with five and six. Anything could go. So I mean, the best player is on Solid State in this matchup, and um, I didn't see any of James Harden's games this week, but seems like had some pretty strong numbers.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't matter if he's fat, doesn't matter if he's skinny, doesn't matter if he's at the strip club. James Harden is
Yeah,
James Harden.
yeah,
You know,
yep.
he's just an unbelievable basketball player. One of the best, offensive players of all time. He's just as simple as being a magician with the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
And he missed the basketball game the past week. I started speculating because him and Michael Porter both missed the game that maybe we finally got a destination for Mr. Harden.
It could happen. It could still
Gonna
happen.
start have gonna have to start scouting the strip clubs in Denver.
That's probably what he's been. He's probably got somebody on the ground doing that already.
He certainly got his team
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. Let's go to NY and BBB to Madrid. We were wrong in this one again. I think we went with NY for this matchup.
Yeah, we didn't factor in the complacency of NY to not get Moran out of his lineup. That's kind of not on us, but I guess we certainly might have to factor that in that
Well, you can
this
factor
owner
that
might.
in. The biggest thing to factor in too is John Morant getting injured. In his I think it was the first game of his week. He got injured, right?
Oh, wow, that felt like it was so long ago, man. I thought he
Hmm.
got he got injured like the end of the first week. Oh, wow, it was like the first
Oh
game.
no, actually maybe you're right. You might be right. It looks like
No,
it was on the
no, it has
28th.
to be 20,
Looks like he got injured on the 28th.
28.
So, oh no, you're right.
No,
Actually,
no, no, no,
so that was
20.
the
No,
beginning
you
of
were
this
right. You were
week.
right.
Okay,
You're
so
right. You're right. It was the
okay,
Monday. It was the
it was
Monday.
Monday. Okay,
Yeah.
so he got injured on the Monday, so didn't play for the rest of the week. And but I'm wondering, does that still mean that he should lose in some of these other categories? I mean, maybe like you said, he didn't. If the lineups were not set, then
And Russ also rested for a game. Though that might have did him some justice with the field goal percentage, because Russ can certainly dip you
yeah. Well,
3 or 4 percentage points.
really, they were playing. You know, looks like 5-on-8. So yeah. So I guess like you said, we underestimated the uh, attentiveness of this owner. Unfortunately.
All right, well, let's jump into the next matchup, which is, you know, I've got to say probably matchup of the week. We've got True Grit versus the Busters. Um, I think we both ended up choosing the Busters. Um, However,
Yes.
we certainly felt like this was going to be a tough matchup going in. Um, because True Grit has been known to bring out these tough 5-4 victories in surprising fashion, and he certainly did that. One of the first things that popped out to me on the scoreboard was the fact that True Grit was able to pull out um, the victory in rebounds
Hmm.
by about 7 boards, mainly because I look at the Busters, and the Busters has Giannis and Drummond, which are the top two rebounders in the NBA currently.
Hmm.
And so, the fact
That's
that they
interesting.
weren't, yeah, and it's not like they have slouches because they've got Murray, who was a little bit light on the rebounds. I mean, he usually rebounds just slightly a tick above. But Bryant also had a strong rebounding games, and Brooks brought some, and look at Lonzo. Lonzo, had oh, whoops, wrong column. Um, but
Yeah.
Lonzo was a little bit light on rebounds as well.
Yeah, what's interesting though, and looking at True Grit is, and we're talking about rebounding, is their guards rebounded very well.
Hmm.
Kobe White himself had 22 rebounds. I don't think anyone was expecting that. He out rebounded,
Both
Bogdanovich.
Drew Holiday and Ball combined.
Right, right. So
Wow.
that's huge. And yeah, that's huge. I mean, when you think about it, it's like Kobe White, 22 rebounds, and Giannis, 31. You don't expect that to be that close. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not close, but you know, relatively close. Yeah, Valanciunas out rebounded Drummond, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis also rebounding Giannis. So I mean, I think that with combined, like you said, the guards out rebounding um, Rucker Park's guards. I don't know. It's still weird though. You still have other guys, Thomas Bryant, in there. So, but that's definitely a category you don't expect um, Rucker Park to be down in much throughout the season. So, um, all things considered, I. I don't think I'm surprised about the 3-point shooting,
Yeah, that's
um,
unsurprising.
but I am surprised about the percentages. I mean, True Grit, you know, I mean, Jalen Brown shot a ridiculous 67% for this past week. And then everyone else was solid, um, minus Kobe White, who we know is going to shoot in the 30s, sub 40% shooter. But for Rucker Park, Drew Holiday is usually going to give you better percentages,
Hmm.
and Murray uh, from San Antonio at the guard position, he's usually a higher percentage shooter than that. So, and then Drummond only 50%. I'm expecting him to be closer to 70 or 65%, something like what Thomas Bryant did. So I don't know. That I would think he's going to be a little bit more competitive in that category later on. Everything else, defensive stats minus the rebounding, were there. Turnovers are going to be solid as usual.
Do you think this loss should have management consider uh, a possible shift in the roster construction, or a pivot as far as some of the categories that they should be looking for?
I'd say give it another week or two just to see, you know, just to see if what happened this week is a representation of what what should be expected to come. But like I said, I expect the percentages to get better. I expect the rebounding to get better. Um, and then once that happens, we're talking about the difference between a 4-5 loss and maybe a 6-3 win. So, I can imagine better weeks are coming for this owner.
Right. And so what we've got for our last matchup is the Money Men versus the Sparrows. Um, you know, no surprises here.
Hey, we got one
We've
right.
yeah, we've we've talked at great lengths about how the Sparrows are. gonna be
in full tank mode.
non-competitive this year, and so yeah, Money Man delivered. I mean, you can just see across the board. I mean, it really wasn't close, with the exception of threes and blocks. Um,
And you got Turner on
yeah,
your team is going to be close in blocks.
yep. So
He should really do
just
something about that.
yeah. I think he might be receiving some calls after this podcast from me.
Yeah.
I could use some blocks.
Yeah,
For
as
sure.
could I, man. If he wants to really tank, I got some players for him.
Yeah. I got some players. I got some draft picks. I've got cash dollars.
You said any cash considerations?
cash considerations. Yes, just let me
Which
know.
I mean, speaking of which, I think, and we can segue into probably some of the trades after this, but cash consideration is going to be a thing that I think we'll start seeing in some of these trades, because if teams are going over into luxury tax, I mean, you might be able to use, as a bargaining chip. Hey, I'll pay your luxury tax bill, as the cash consideration, if you accept
Yeah,
this trade.
it sounds like a sleazy date. I'm gonna beg you. Oh
It
my
does.
goodness.
It does.
The
It
direction
does,
of the
man.
association.
Yeah, we've got some active owners on the trade market, and who get very creative. So I don't put it past them.
I agree with that, and I await I await the first transaction that we have.